Hello and welcome to today's video as we cover some official roster moves, coaches changes over the last couple months, pretty much since Worlds began, taking everything that happened in September, October, and November in an official manner and putting it on the board. Coaching changes, players that were let go prior to their contracts being up. In the case of like a Mickey X, Palafox, and Loki, those three players were let go when their contracts were up beyond the end of this season. I did not include players that are allowed to look for opportunities as they are still under contract, and if no other team wants them, we'll talk about it when they get let go and their contracts terminated. So first we have DRX. Big Fafa was the GM, was the general manager for a while, since 2023. So 24-25 season. He went 23-50 as the general manager. He was let go, and then they hired Ferry. Ferry was the GM for maybe a month, this past offseason. Well, end of season. He never got a game under his belt. Maybe he realized, hey, this is why this team sucks. I do not want to be the GM. So they rehired Carter. Carter, former T1 coach, over a decade ago, and now has been a general manager for DRX, was the general manager when DRX won Worlds in 2022. As a GM, he is 40-68 in a best-of-3 setting. Playoffs and best-of-3s, 2-5. Those only two best-of-3 wins by his teams were in that 2022 LCK Regional Finals. And then 10-2 internationally in best-of-1 setting, which was 2022 Worlds, and then 3-0 in best-of-5s at 2022 Worlds. So literally, they hired the GM from their 2022 run because ever since they lost him, they have not returned to that form. And frankly, that was the only year they had that type of form. So, DRX are grasping at straws. GAM allowed Archie to leave prior to his contract being up. Archie has been a longtime coach. He's a former player. Coached for GAM, Cerebrus, Team Secret, and then GAM again. And most recently with GAM over the last 2 seasons, he went to 3 of the 4 main international events, MSI and Worlds. 30-15 in best-of-3s domestically, 9-8 in best-of-5s in a playoff format, or best-of-3 in a playoff format is 9-8. Internationally, 3-3 in best-of-1s, 1-2 in best-of-3s, and 2-1 in best-of-5s. Pretty solid coach, one of the best coaches in the LCP and Vietnam in general. Cloud9 have hired Inero. Inero was the assistant. Reaper was allowed to leave. From my knowledge, it looked like his contract was up anyways. That's why he's not on the board. Inero, longtime Golden Guardians coach, Echo Fox coach, coached with Immortals, most recently in a head coaching capacity. 94-139 in a regular season setting. He has no international games under his belt, at least based on what I saw. Maybe I missed something. In an official setting, mind you, as a head coach. Cloud9 did go to Esports World Cup and lose, so theoretically, that's a thing. 2-8 in playoffs. Loki also allowed to leave. The LCK import rookie, I had limited expectations coming into the season. He had some really great games and also games that reminded me of why he was not somebody I consider to be the highest touted LCK CL mid in 2024. 4-7 KDA, 68 KP, 8 CS per minute. All solid to good numbers. He is an upper half to, at times, like I said, the best mid in the LTA North, but it's just, there were better ones in my opinion. 1.58 ROI, 3.3 share differential, so not a super big carry threat. With Thanatos in top lane, it does screw around with their numbers. Blabber also very impactful in the jungle. 2.58 vision efficiency. Laning wise, not super dominant in gold. 75 ahead, 65 XP. You'd like an import player. You're using an import slot on them. You'd like them to be dominant in all facets. 20 solo kills, 16 champions in 66 games. Heretics have hired Hayden as the coach. Their former coach contract was up, so they didn't get re-signed. Hayden coached XL and then most recently Giant X, 11-16 in regular season play, 1-6 in a best of format in playoffs. Furia, Thinkard, has been allowed to be let go from his contract. I believe, if I recall, it was a personal reason. But regardless, did very well for Furia, bringing them to MSI. First split and third split, not nearly as good. First split was pretty pitiful. But a 5-2 record in best of ones, 5-4 in best of threes, and 2-4 in best of fives domestically. 0-2 internationally in MSI 2025. I do not have EWC up here. I had to include EWC because of how fucked up the stats were for the power rankings, but as far as, I don't love EWC, so I don't include it if I can avoid it. Shopify Rebellion, Palafax was allowed to let go. So Palafax, I think you can do better in a mid lane role. He obviously had a very good run a couple of years ago, but for the majority of his career, it's kind of been like, I think you could do better. 2.7 KDA, 64 KP, 8.2 CS per minute, 1.61 ROI, 2.8 share differential, 2.57 vision efficiency. However, laning-wise, behind 154 gold on average, 122 XP, 9 solo kills, 18 champions in 63 games. So a little wider champion pool than Loki, but struggling in lane. Similar damage profiles, but that's in part due to lower farm. His DPM isn't as high as Loki, but his farm is significantly less, 6 every 10 minutes. Less involvement, died more. It makes sense because Shopify were not as good as Cloud9 for the majority of the year. Fnatic, Mickey allowed to leave. Obviously, we've seen a lot of rumors about Mickey. I know we've had multiple sources saying all this and that and the third. I don't talk about moves until they're confirmed and the contract is signed and the GCD reflects it. Leaguepedia usually does well with the GCD. Mickey, of course, one of the best supports, if not the best support of all time in Europe. I think he's very, very good. 2.9 KDA, 74 KP, very aggressive. 3 out of every 4 kills with a 0.91 ROI. That's one of the highest in the West. About a 2 vision efficiency, which is also very good. That's the standard. Gold XP difference. He's on the positive side of things. Him and Upset did very well in the laning phase this season. 20 champions in 87 games. The rumors obviously are where he's going to SK, but we'll see. We'll talk about that when that happens. But a lot of interesting moves here. We'll see what happens down the stretch. The next few days, I plan on doing free agency previews, ignoring all the rumors and sources and this, that, and the third, and just going with what's out there and then talking about it as it officially comes in after the 17th and 18th when players can officially sign. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.